Welcome to This Week in Missouri Politics Overtime. Every year, one of my favorite things we get to do is have some folks come in from Culver-Stockton in Canton, Missouri. Very glad to have you guys represent Spencer students and folks that are from the college he's at. Del Balamini.
Yes, sir.
Very glad to have you, sir. Morgan Ledbetter, glad to have you.
Thank you.
Erica, very glad to have you. And Noah, glad to have you, sir.
Nice to be here.
Start with you guys. What makes you interested in politics? You're all taking a political science class here. When you're looking at the class schedule of things you could take, what piqued your interest about politics?
I'm interested by like the logistics and the amount of like unknown of politics. So I guess like the everyday civilian doesn't really know the ins and outs, and so if you want to make a difference, you have to do it by the book. So.
Erica, you're looking at classes, you take something with politics that brings you here right now on this TV show.
Yes, it does.
What piqued your interest?
Living in Chicago, politics are such a huge aspect of my city.
Fan, right?
No.
Okay, good. We can keep rolling.
Okay. Living in Chicago, like I said, so many political aspects in and out. Like Noah said, learning about it, experiencing it, and hearing about it made me become a political science major.
What about politics piques your interest?
I think it's just important for the people who like run the world, and I just think it's a really big part of society today, and there's a lot of debate, and I think it's just important to have good people. And
When you think about politics, what piques your interest?
Well, mostly it's just due to the fact that I'm also a double major in history, and
yeah.
I do specifically military history. And the way that I think about it, you can't talk about military history and everything else without going into the politics of the subject.
Very interesting. Always to me, especially in a democracy, that the government influences what the generals can do, right? I mean, there's definitely a relationship there that's an interesting thing.
Sometimes they agree, sometimes they don't.
Give me your take on Donald Trump.
I feel like President Trump has definitely done something interesting to the U.S. government. Whether or not it's good or bad or indifferent, it's really not an ability of mine to tell. That's for the historians of the future to tell, as far as I'm concerned.
You know, Donald Trump's a guy that, like him, don't like him, whatever, everybody has a, even if you don't care about politics at all, you find people that talk about him. What's your take on him?
I mean, he's brought up in like every conversation, and I feel like he's also had a lot of stuff thrown at him that might not be his fault. It might be, I don't really know, but I just try to stay out of like the controversy between Donald Trump, honestly.
No doubt. It is an interesting thing, though. You see Donald Trump being brought into all sorts of aspects of people's lives, sports, movies, the Grammys. I even get a little fatigue about him sometimes. Like, not everything in my life is about Donald Trump. But he is a figure that has permeated all these things. What's your take on him?
Trump has piqued the interests of Americans to gain more support in the political realm. As you mentioned, we hear about him every single day. I am fatigued also, but we should look towards the future and see what's going to happen. Good or bad, I think we need to expect more of this new political realm we're in right now.
What do you think? I mean, it seems, you know, President Obama, when you're the president, you're the most powerful person in the world, you're the most visible. But it seems like with Trump, it's different. There's just more. You know what I mean? What's your take on him?
My take on it would be that I think a lot of issues and thoughts throughout the government are transparent through his position. So I feel like he's being a little more transparent with information and stuff. So I think that the views and the overall actions have been relatively the same throughout the years, but it's just more clear now because I don't think he has a...
You said something that piqued my interest. Information. You on Twitter? You on
Yes,
Facebook?
Sir. Yeah.
He's on it all the time. I mean, it's kind of weird, almost. How do you get your information? Like, when you read a news story about politics, how do you get that?
There's a couple different ways. I mean, a reliable one actually isn't even American. It's BBC. I feel like they have a more unbiased...
How do you get the BBC? Do you go to their website directly? How do you get that information?
Sometimes, honestly, it's on Snapchat News.
Yeah.
It'll come up quick with articles, and then I'll go onto their website to gain more information. But with the media and information just at like a hand's reach, I feel like a lot of news is on Snapchat now, just to pique interest.
How do you get that news?
Every morning I wake up, grab my phone, and I see what our government's doing today, what the Trump administration is working on, what they're planning.
When you grab your phone, what do you look at?
First thing I click on is Apple News. You get all the
nice.
information from multiple news sources. So, like I said, every morning, turn around, I have to see what
None of you
Trump
guys
has
are on the
done.
Confide app, are you? Like secret tech. Good. Apple News interesting though. How do you get your news?
Mine's probably mostly from Twitter and Facebook, so I'm just simple.
Yeah, I have not taken it to the Snapchat level really.
Yeah.
So I'm still Twitter or Facebook is where I kind of get mine.
I mostly just get mine from BBC as well. Dr. DeWard and the rest of the political science and also the history professors have sort of put it into our brains that we need to find slightly less biased sources than most American media. So looking at it from the outside in generally tends to give a more neutral perspective.
If you're going to read American media though, you need to read multiple sources, right?
Yes.
You get a different take and you can use your own judgment. It's an interesting thing. Do you think, last question, do you think Donald Trump's use of Twitter is a good thing or a bad thing?
That's a really tough question because it's really based on what he's tweeting about at the time, which if anyone looks at his Twitter is a million things a second, it feels like at sometimes. But the fact that he is sometimes willing to use it as a public board to attack other national leaders, Theresa May, Angela Merkel, and especially Kim Jong-un. It's that is some sort of stuff that you really, I don't feel like you should be seeing from a president of the United States.
I agree. It has a less presidential feel. Good or bad?
Oh, terrible. I think that as a leader of the United States, he should not be fighting with other countries like North Korea through a social media account.
Yeah, he's not a seventh grade.
It's immature.
Yeah, he's not a seventh grade. I get it. Wait, good or bad?
I'm going to have to say Trump has to get off. We are having so many difficulties with his Twitter account. It sometimes does make America look kind of weak at times, kind of argumentative. I do think tweeting should be less and more going to his accounters.
Like the substantive tweeting, I don't mind that. I like that kind of. It's easy to get the information. I'm on Twitter. But like, yeah, the real immature tweeting, I'm not sure is a good look for the country. What do you think, good or bad?
I think it's bad, again, with the transparency of things, like, and just the...
Well, he's pretty transparent. I mean, it's on Twitter. We can all see it. I mean,
that's what I'm saying. I feel like it's a little too
transparent
and too, spontaneous. Like, everyone's, like, thinking stuff, and you just go to, like, tweet something, and then everyone sees it screenshot, so you can't just take it down. And I feel like it's not even just with other countries. Like, he's kind of bashed LeBron James and some other... real high-profile people in America.
I recently had a Twitter stalker, and it was weird, but I mean, he wasn't the president. You know what I mean? So it's like it's an odd thing.
Yeah.
I want to thank all you guys from Culver-Stockton. Very glad to have you. Hope this was as fun for you as it was for me. I love doing this every year. I want to thank Representative Spencer for bringing everybody here, and we'll watch you guys next week when we come back on This Week in Missouri Politics.